They audit books. They don't see if the people getting the program's funding are eligible. I could give you a long list or dig one up of things like that. Just start in there. That's why we start at UCUT. If you go to the internet, UCUT, just Google it or whatever your search engine is. And every week we're in session, we're trying to put forward some ideas how you cut back government. Is it going to balance the budget? No, not in and of itself, but it begins a different mindset about we don't have the money, we've got to start cutting back like I had to do, my wife had to do in our small business. If we just applied those principles, government, we could get back. And then you could make sure your kids get a full year education in a classroom that's manageable in size.
And I would just add on to that, I mean, an issue that comes up a lot is the U.S. Department of Education and the unprecedented role that this U.S. Department of Education is playing in these unfunded mandates that are being handed down to our classrooms right here in Alabama. And I would say that the people in Troy, in Montgomery, in Dothan, in Millbrook, that local leadership is in the best position to be making decisions on how to educate our children. And when you have these bureaucrats up in Washington mandating to our teachers in our local education systems about how your tax dollars, your local tax dollars need to be spent, we've got a real problem. And I think the closer we can get to making the U.S. Department of Education smaller and smaller, the better off we're going to be in making decisions that affect our children. I believe that education should be child-centered and parent-driven. And as long as we've got these bureaucrats up in Washington sending down these unfunded mandates, it takes more and more away from that. So that's a real problem when you start talking about education on a national level.
And let's make sure that when our kids are educated, they got a place to go to work. You know, the great American dream isn't necessarily home ownership, it's when your kid moves out of the house and gets a job. And I'm looking forward to that day. I got to give you an example while I've been on the road. The Department of Transportation, about 2 days ago, at least it came out, fined a Mercy Flights, which is a helicopter ambulance service in my district, $30,000. They threatened to fine them $40,000 because on Mercy Flight's website, they refer to our helicopters, technicians, and whatever. Well, it turns out they don't own the helicopters. They lease them exclusively for their use. And some bureaucrat at the Department of Transportation said, oh, then they're not really yours, so you can't use the pronoun our. It's deceptive. Are you serious? And they find it. Their attorney said it'll cost you more than $40,000 to fight it, so just settle. This is a company that's barely able to make ends meet right now, provide emergency helicopter medical service, and because on their website they listed our technicians, our helicopters, whatever, you got some bureaucrat. Now you tell me we can't cut that bureaucrat out of a job. I'm going to go after them, the agency. This is the kind, and somewhere else I read in the country they find another outfit at $10,000 for the same offense. I mean, this stuff is going. We're broke nationally. We got people with time on their hands to do that. So anyway, get wired up on this stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there support of the fair tax in Washington from Republicans?
There's some, yeah. And there's support of the flat tax. And there's support of other types of reforms, certainly. Every one of them has its ups and downs. And the real issue is, do you go with the Obama tax, which takes effect January 1 and increases taxes $3.8 trillion if we don't do something to stop that from happening by the end of this year. And so that's the first fight we have to have, is do you extend the current law, or do you let these taxes go up $3.8 trillion? And I'm just going to tell you, if you want to put a bullet in the head of the existing economy, which isn't very stable, then raise taxes. It's a horrible idea. Horrible idea. You can't expect small business on the one end to pay higher taxes, fight off a government and these regulations, and take on new mandates like in the healthcare bill, and on the other hand, wonder why they can't hire more people. I mean, I've been in those shoes. You pucker up at some point and go, I just can't take the risk. I don't know how to manage all this.
And here in Alabama, particularly in this part of Alabama, with the expiration as it relates to the death tax, I mean, and I'm sure in your neck of the woods as well, when it comes to our family farm. us. We've got lots of folks that are land wealthy but cash poor, and so they are going to be unable to sustain their family farm and be able to pass it on to the next generation. And so this is a huge, huge concern as it relates to the what's going to happen in January.
That's a really good point. Because, again, having been in small business, I know a lot of business owners who do all kinds of machinations to try and preserve the family business they've built. Because when they pass away, the government wants cash. The only way you can generate that is either go borrow it, which is almost impossible in this environment, because all you do is give it to the government. It's not investing in growth or new revenues, or you divide up the business, which causes businesses to pyramid and sell up. And really, we'd rather keep them local.
Right. So
And by the way, if you're the patriarch or matriarch of your family, just don't go to your kids' New Year's Eve party if you haven't figured this out. They can't afford you on New Year's Day.
What about the VAT tax? Are they pushing that really hard?
We're doing everything we can to stop that. There is discussion about a value-added tax in Washington by those who think the problem in America is we don't tax you enough. And in fact, Republicans have led an effort to say no to a VAT, to preemptively say no. Our problem in Washington and in a lot of states that are going broke is not a lack of tax revenue or ways to get into your pocket.
Stop spending.
Stop spending. Oregon, we have this debate because we don't have a sales tax. And there are those that are for big government who say, well, if we only had a sales tax, then we wouldn't have this budget problem. And I just say, well, look over the border in California. They've got an income tax, they've got a sales tax, they've got a property tax. How are they doing? They're horribly upside down because they have a spending addiction.
Yeah.
We got to break that addiction.
Here's a question in domestic problems, but a huge problem that's a fearful situation is Iran. We have a despot there whose goal is, of course, to destroy Israel and the United States, the great savings. Where is our government with regards to response to Iran? It's like, he's never doesn't have a atomic weapon. It's really not that bad. Yet this week he's going to play the striker plane and stuff. I don't think for it to be long, but what about that lurking danger that is a very serious threat?
You're right on target. Iran is a very serious issue to world security, not just the United States. And clearly, Ahmadinejad speaks very openly about his intentions, which are reckless, dangerous, irresponsible, and could be deadly if carried out. He threatens other nations with impunity. And it troubles me that while the United States has tried, and I think probably under both administrations, to isolate Ahmadinejad and stop Iran from developing any kind of nuclear weapons, we seem to have shifted course a bit of late, and I don't think that's been productive. Moreover, there are international partners that need to be every bit at the table, and yet they seem to be helping on the other side.
Exactly.
They have investments there, they continue to, this is an issue that requires the world community to all weigh in, or we're all going to pay the price.
Well, what's the U.S. doing about it? Well, I realize it's a global issue, but it's very focused. Russia and China lined up right there with
Right.
So what are we doing? Obviously, our
Not enough.
Russia is faulty.
So we passed additional sanctions legislation in the Congress over the president's objections, which gives him new authorities to implement harsher sanctions, which I don't think he's used yet and should. And that was in all the partisanship that goes on in Washington, this was a very bipartisan effort that occurred in the Congress to give the president this authority, and frankly, a little bit of a kick, if you will, to say you got to get tougher on Iran. You miscalculate here, and you allow them to develop a weapon of mass destruction, and you know where their president's headed. There's no second guessing of when